Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, and it feels like this city is trying to be, and probably going to be, the capital city of all of Africa. Certainly the economy is going up like crazy in recent years, and we know that Ethiopian Airlines is a major travel hub transporting people all around Africa. And in terms of travel, in terms of tourism, there is a lot to do here, so we are very excited to show you guys Addis Ababa on our very first time in Africa. Now we've come to start the video in Meskel Square, which is a beautiful place, very clean, very quiet, perfect weather, and a bunch of respectable people around. And this is a very common meeting place for various holidays and celebrations here in Addis Ababa. I can show you some images of this place full of people, which would be quite the scene. And so with all that being said, let's start our day with some Ethiopian coffee, seeing as coffee was created and discovered for the first time in Ethiopia. Let's go have some Ethiopian coffee.
Sweet. Yeah, she's eating. It's good. Thank you.
Check that out, Ivana.
Traditional Ethiopian coffee. Look how black and thick it is.
Holy jumping strong, right?
Yeah.
Strong coffee. Actually, the coffee is so good over here, we've been drinking black coffee.
That's right.
Typically we put milk or cream, but with good flavor coffee, you really don't need milk or cream.
That's right. This is very strong, by the way.
Like espresso, I guess.
Exactly. Wow. So they put incense here, and it is to cleanse the space around you and to clean your soul when you drink coffee. So there is actually an Ethiopian coffee ceremony here, where they go through the whole process of cooking the beans and then making the coffee itself. And it's a sacred thing here. Coffee is a sacred thing in Ethiopia.
Yes, this is definitely some type of wood because it smells like a really good smelling campfire. And that's
Let me tell you, the smell of it, it's really good. I think because of the smell and the taste of the coffee, it kind of blends in together. when you
Interesting.
drink it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good.
So it's like a smoky espresso.
And it got kind of like a flavor, like the incense flavor.
Sure.
Because of this.
Because this is strong, eh?
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself. This is very strong.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I'm not sure how often Ethiopian people do this anymore. I see a lot of Ethiopian people just drink an iced latte.
Yeah.
This might be a more of a once in a while thing, but still traditional Ethiopian.
Yeah, this is a traditional way, but there are lots of modern cafes nowadays.
Of course, everywhere you look is a modern cafe.
Yeah.
And this little traditional shop is actually right inside of the Adwa. Adwa? Yes,
Yeah.
Adwa Victory Memorial. Let's go check out the museum now. All right, everybody, welcome to the, and I believe I'm saying this right, Adwa Victory Memorial. The first A is pronounced like the A in father. I'm trying to remember because I really want to say Adwa. So anyway, the year is 1896 and the Italians are coming to Ethiopia. They got their army and they're ready to colonize. And so the Ethiopians sort of band together and create what I would call a militia. These are farmers from Ethiopia who speak different languages, they have different religions, they have different regional differences because they're from all across the land. They have no military training and they succeed in kicking out the Italians. So they defend their homeland. Now, certainly the people in charge here in Ethiopia think this is a big deal because this museum is so grand. All of the roofs, or the ceilings I should say, are 25 feet tall.
Right.
They spared no expense in building this place. But I would argue that even if you're just a regular Ethiopian walking the streets, this is a big source of pride in terms of the fighting spirit of the Ethiopian. Because, and I'll show you a quote from Winston Churchill, Ethiopia has the distinction of being the only country who was never colonized in all of Africa. Now, in order to get that distinction, we're delineating between colonized and occupied. Ethiopia was occupied during World War II by the same Italians, but they never were colonized, and so they were able to stay, for lack of a better term, purely African. And so I would imagine, if you're an Ethiopian person, the victory at Adwa is a huge source of pride because local farmers kicked out the European power, right? Now, they do have a really good display in there of the actual landscape at Adwa. And so my assumption, and this is just me guessing, the reason they were able to win is because they knew the landscape so well. You can imagine if you're an Italian guy on a horse, just trying to not fall off the horse would be hard enough. Never mind trying to fight an army who's born and bred in this difficult landscape. And so in any case, great stop. Huge, grand museum, very quiet. Baby Jean was running around screaming, no problem. Good place, really enjoyed that. So let's keep going here on our Ethiopian tour. Let's go.
Ah, look at Jean. Say hi. Hi. So cute. Yeah, I think I will fit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are having such a good first trip to Ethiopia. I really wanted to buy a souvenir. Now, typically, I buy sports, jersey, souvenirs, because as full-time travelers, our suitcase space is limited. In fact, I'm wearing one from China right now. Now, the trouble is, I have been fooled before and purchased inauthentic sports jerseys. If you guys remember in Brazil, at an outdoor market, I bought the Brazilian national football team iconic jersey, totally fake. The trouble is, those fake jerseys disintegrate in the washing machine so quick. So the souvenir is sort of ruined. And it's very troublesome for us. And so introducing POIZON's free online authenticator, which works for sports jerseys, as well as handbags, even sneakers, any sort of luxury item, really. It's a nice and handy service they offer. And so with POIZON, I can use my cell phone camera to authenticate my item, and I'll receive either a pass or a fail within minutes. Let's try it out and see if this jersey I purchased is real or fake. And so really what POIZON is offering is peace of mind. Because in a few minutes I'll have the information I need to know whether or not this is real or fake. And so I have received a not pass or a fail, which means conclusively this jersey is inauthentic and fake.
Oh.
Now it's hard to find a real jersey in Addis Ababa. We purchased this from the stadium where the team plays.
Yeah.
That was the best looking jersey we saw because we found 3 or 4 of them that all looked pretty darn fake. So a bit frustrating for me, but with POIZON's online authenticator, we now know it's fake and we know not to wear it, because if you wear it, you have to wash it, and if you wash it, it's gonna fall apart very quickly. So still a souvenir for us, but unwearable. And keep in mind, POIZON works for handbags, watches, purses. It's a good service they provide because everybody has a cell phone with a camera in their pocket, meaning everybody can authenticate any item they're looking at in minutes, which is very handy. So big thanks to POIZON for sponsoring today's video. A bit frustrating, my jersey is fake, but at least now we know. And so let's go keep exploring Ethiopia because very fun place to travel. Let's go. Right, so in the ultimate changing of gears, or changing of speeds, we're going from Adwa Museum to the supermarket. And I'll tell you why. Typically on our channel, we feature full 25-minute videos of the supermarket in almost every country we go to. But here in Addis Ababa, we have not found a single supermarket. It seems like local people totally rely on the small local market. So we figured for this country we would scrap that video and not make it, but we just saw that right attached to the museum is the biggest supermarket we've seen so far. Keep in mind, this is the biggest supermarket we've seen so far. Let's check it out. And so the first thing we see, they have so many products like this. This product is called hair food. I mean, what could hair food be? I have no idea. They also have this one, which I think is for your hair also. Paraffin oil. And even over here, something legitimately called hair oil. Now, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm not exactly a hair expert. But honestly, I don't know what hair oil is. I guess it's for like, you make your hair look shiny or something?
Yeah.
Smell good?
Strong and thick.
Yeah, hair food. It's gonna like make your hair...
Strong and thick. I need that, you know, because I'm falling apart here.
If I put some on my hair, will I grow? Maybe get a jar. Maybe get 2 jars. Oh, check it out. Local chips. I guess they're called lolly chips. This is natural flavor.
I think their most popular flavor other than natural is ketchup or tomato.
Just like Canada. Ketchup chips.
That's tomato.
Probably good.
They have the ketchup one.
Oh, this one probably so good. In Canada, the #1 chip, ketchup. And now the fruit and veggie section. 25 for tomatoes. I'm guessing that's per kilo, not per one. And interesting that the tomatoes look like they've been in a fist fight, which honestly probably makes them taste better. In Canada, all the tomatoes look like they came out of a machine. Exact same.
Yeah.
These ones look like they had a rough night last night. Probably tastes better that way, honestly, though. Probably more natural. And look at that. This whole shelf on my left, plus most of the right, and the whole further shelf. So basically one whole aisle is all coffee. Ethiopian coffee. Almost maybe 20% of the store is coffee, which is pretty awesome. Now, we found Namita. This is so delicious, but I gotta be honest with you guys. My stomach is ruined. I haven't had this bad of a stomach problem since Pakistan, which was so bad I had to leave the country. This is these delicious spice, chilies, and a bunch of other herbs in there. So flavorful, so delicious. Totally not edible. I gotta be honest, I will never eat this for the rest of my life.
But you like the flavor.
The flavor's so good. I had it twice in this trip, and both times the next day I was demolished. Anyway, I will say delicious, but incompatible with my Canadian stomach. Oh, good find, Ivana. Just what we needed. Yeah. Baby jeans. Look at it, baby jean. Ooh, give me it. Oh my gosh. First time we've seen olive oil in a whole city. This is hard to find. I wish we found this a few days ago. That's the first time we've seen olive oil. I think Ethiopians use ghee, no?
Yeah.
They use more ghee than oil. And so, very brief supermarket tour, but now you guys know. Olive oil, and we even saw liquid milk. Cow's milk for sale. First time I've seen that in Addis, right here at Adwa Museum. Boom, nailed it. Let's keep going. The journey continues. Okay, next up, the National Museum of Ethiopia, right here in Addis Ababa. Now, first things first, I guess on Saturday in Ethiopia, they do school trips for the school children. Because we just walked in a minute ago on Saturday, and there was a bunch of so friendly kids out front. We were treated like royalty on the way in. It was really great.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Goodbye.
Hello. What's your name? How are you?
Bye bye. Now, when you talk to the staff inside, they tell you to start in the basement. So it's no surprise that when you walk down the staircase, the very first thing you see is Lucy. Because Lucy is a big deal. Lucy is 3.2 million years old. She's walking upright despite her small skull. And really, Lucy has told us a lot because when she was discovered in the 70s, she was the oldest discovered pre-human fossil. So Lucy is world famous. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Lucy. Here's some things you might not know. One, Lucy is tiny. She's 3.5 feet tall.
Right.
Despite that, she's not a child. She was a fully grown adult woman at 3.5 feet tall. I guess that's how tall people were 3.2 million years ago. And from the fossil record, they could tell she died in a fall. Now, one thing you might not know, and a very fun bit of trivia for you, is Lucy was named after the song by the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. What? Now, to be fair, Lucy is her English nickname, but it was named after the song by the Beatles, which is pretty unbelievable. Now, in terms of a full review of the National Museum of Ethiopia, I'll be honest. Outside of Lucy, there's not a lot going on there. It's a lot of clay pottery behind glass cases, which for me is not that interesting. So I would still recommend going because Lucy is there, and it's amazing to see Lucy and learn more about human evolution, but you can see behind me, the museum is very small, and outside of Lucy is not much.
Yeah.
It costs 75 cents to get in, which is probably a fair price, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not much going on there, but it's nice to see Lucy. And so the journey continues here. Let's keep exploring Addis Ababa. Okay, next up on our list is Holy Trinity Cathedral, right here in Addis Ababa. Now here's the thing, the majority religion in Ethiopia is Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity, which I would not have guessed. As we know, Orthodox people celebrate Christmas on January 7th. If I show you a map of all the countries that celebrate Christmas on January 7th, Ethiopia is the southernmost one, and it's a very surprising addition to the list, at least for me, and for the reason I'm very interested in this topic. So we entered the big complex here, and we were told by a very friendly guy, when you go in the church, you gotta take off your shoes. He said, if somebody offers to take your shoes for you, don't give them your shoes, they're just gonna extort you for money. So keep your shoes with you. So we walked in the church, with our shoes in hand, and massive, kind of straight column to the front where there's the altar behind some steel gates. Big, impressive, strong church. And we learned that women sit on the right and men sit on the left. So Ivana was sitting away from me.
Right.
Now we saw the priest who was walking down the aisle, and he was a very talkative guy. And he came to us and he was curious about we're from Canada and what we're doing here and how we like Ethiopia. And so ultimately he says, come with me to the front, we'll go behind the gates. Because behind the steel gates where the altar is, some beautiful paintings on the ceiling. And so we went back there with him. We were standing right beneath a huge chandelier. He was telling us the history about the paintings up top, which are depicting important events in Ethiopian history, because Ethiopia was occupied by Italy during World War II, not colonized, but occupied. And so some of the artwork in the church depicts that. We saw the last king and queen's thrones, which is Haile Selassie. I might be pronouncing it wrong. We also saw the last king and queen of Ethiopia's tombs. It was a really fantastic time with the priest. It was such a surprise. We didn't expect that. And then next thing you know, he's showing us TikTok videos on his phone, laughing it up. He's beating on a drum. He's teaching us a bunch of Ethiopian words. I believe the drum he was hitting is called the lalabella. He kept telling us that. So I gotta be honest, this was one of the best experiences in Ethiopia so far. We always like going to churches because they're so powerful and so grand. And to be fair, we are not Orthodox, but we're connected by Christians, and we just like going to churches, mosques, temples. And the priest was so kind. I loved it. It was really, really great. So for me, Holy Trinity Cathedral is a must.
Good learning experience.
Great learning experience. All right, welcome to dinner, everybody. We have no idea what to expect. There are as many chairs in this room as there could possibly be. The tables are made from straw. There's grass on the floor. There's paintings on the ceiling, and there's a stage. So I think this is a very traditional dinner and a show, which I'm very excited for. So let's eat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the food has come at the exact same time the band started playing. Now, the band is playing very loudly. Hopefully they're not playing some sort of world famous song that's gonna get us copyright infringement, because I don't think our microphone can drown them out. They sound great. Traditional instruments, they got a set of drums in the middle, some string instruments, a guy on what I would call like a clarinet. It's nice ambience here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. You know what? I was trying to describe to you what it's like in here. Now you know. I don't have to describe anymore.
It's so crowded.
Yeah. Look, I'm a little wet. Okay, no problem. Good thing. Oh. The good news is they only spilled the water, not the beer. Hey. Okay, I'm gonna try to eat this food and talk to you guys, but it's very difficult with baby and everything's going on. So let's eat. Now here's the thing. We tried to order something with raw beef, but we failed. We didn't order raw beef. So we had to ask them, which one's raw beef? And they said none of them. So we got many different dishes here, and you'll notice on the outside is injera bread. If you guys remember, the first day we got here, we got off the plane, and the first thing we ate was injera bread. Since then, we've been trying to eat every day, because totally unique thing that I never knew existed, spongy and delicious, and you eat with your fingers, so let's eat. Wow, we did it. And so, what do you guys think? Does this food look appetizing? Does it look good to you? Because honestly, when they brought it out, it looked so good to me. All these different little mushed up meats and cheese, some have eggs on it, and you eat everything with that injera bread. When they first brought it out, it looked so delicious to me, and I really enjoyed eating it. But I don't know what, something on this dish got me tremendously sick, which is really too bad because Baby Jean was loving it, Ivana was loving it. We had a great night out. Baby Jean was dancing and making friends with the people sitting beside us, who were typically dressed up and singing along with the music. They were having a great time, the people beside us. And a lot of them were drinking what appeared to be some kind of homemade alcohol. You can see it here, it looks like orange juice It's being served in a Johnny Walker bottle, and it's got tin foil on the lid. I don't know what that was, but everybody was drinking it, and the performers on stage were great. I've never seen people dance where 90% of the dance is above the shoulders. They dance with their neck in Ethiopia. I mean, look at this guy. He's doing like a throat solo. I mean, it was really incredible night. I was really impressed. So it was so unfortunate that the food was just poisonous to me, because overall, I gotta say, it was a 5-star night. Despite the fact that the food made me no longer curious about Ethiopian food. Ivana quite enjoyed the food, and she wants me to tell you she had no stomach problems. But for me, I would totally recommend this experience, but I would just eat a cheeseburger beforehand. All right, so pro tip is make sure you get a reservation, because the lineup is out the door and around the corner. So popular place. Evidently they're gonna jam till 1:30 a.m. and I really think they are jamming, because the singer would like signal to the band like, do that part again, and they do it again. Or the dancer would do a move and they would like hit the cymbal when he finishes and stuff. So it's a full performance in there. The singers are great, the dancers are great, the musicians were fantastic, and they're really jamming and bringing people up from the crowd on stage and everything. So the food for me was good. Baby Jean was the biggest fan. She kept saying more every time it was over.
She loved the performance.
For me, that was totally worth it, but we're not gonna make it till 1:30 a.m. I will say 5 stars. Definitely do it. If you're coming to Addis Ababa, do it. But we're not gonna make it till 1:30 a.m. Boom. So if you guys remember our very first Ethiopian video, we mentioned that there are direct flights from Toronto to Ethiopia and Ethiopia to Toronto every day, which is a great fact, because unfortunately, our Ethiopia series is over for now. The Africa series will continue. The next video you'll see will be from South Africa. But my point is, when we're leaving Africa, maybe in a month or two, when we're going back to Toronto, I think we'll go back through Ethiopia, because we had a good time over there. Mm-hmm. We met so many friendly people. They welcomed us so nicely. Baby Jean was a big star. The food was a total mess. We're going to go back and eat cheeseburgers only. But I think we'll have more Ethiopian content coming at the end of the Africa trip before we fly back, because it was a good experience. And we liked it. So thanks for watching. Later!